Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Nick.
How are you doing, Lolly?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
You looking all like you got suntan today?
Actually, I haven't got suntan. I'm just my lighting is a little bit bright today, so I'm going to be playing around with some lighting. It's making me look like I've been in the sun, but I haven't.
Tricks of the trade because of the topic today.
Indeed. So I'm looking forward to today's show. Actually, it's a fifth episode now, isn't it?
Yes, we're getting on for a little
bit.
We're
actually getting good at this, Lolly. I think, even if I do say so myself.
Yeah, just don't tell anyone.
No. So what's going on today? What can we expect on today's show?
So today we are talking about skincare. We are talking about myths. We are talking about do's and don'ts. We're going to have some advice. We've got a very great panelist this evening to join us. And we'll be getting a lot of information because especially now at a time where we're sort of inside.
Yeah.
And, like the skincare routine has changed. So I think this is a really good time for us to discuss this and, discover new products and discover new trends and, how to look after our skin. I think it's a good thing that we can talk about this today.
It's going to be fantastic. And, I'm very interested because, they talk about like men and having beauty regimes. Yeah. I think now us metrosexual men like to look after ourselves. We like to take care in our appearances. We like to prune and preen and things and try to look. Do
you have a routine yourself?
What's that?
Do you have a routine?
I don't have a routine, but I moisturize. I've been moisturizing since I was knee high to a grasshopper, I think. Yeah. But I've always moisturized. I'm always careful about grooming. I shave. I keep everything in good condition. I try to anyway. But I don't actually have any routines where I exfoliate and things like that. I don't do anything.
But you should though.
Yeah.
You should though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it nice and bright. Keep your pores
I do now and again go for a little spa day and have some treatments and things like that.
Oh yeah, you actually said it out loud.
I do. But yeah, so we got some good guests, and also we've got a guest host today as well, Lolly.
Yes, a returning guest host.
Yes, Cheryl.
Yes, Cheryl Jumbo.
Yes, indeed. Looking forward to her because she's brought some friends with her. She's going to be talking. So today, for everyone who's there listening now, today we've got a special guest host, and she's going to be talking to some of her friends and some of her industry mates that about skincare and all aspects of skincare. So we'll come in and out. We'll be fleeting in and out, Lolly and I, and you can send us messages and we'll read your messages at the end. So
definitely. I think as well that make sure that you are in the chat room, and if you have any questions, do pop them in there, and we'll do our best to read them out and see if our panelists can give you some answers. So I think without. Do you think we should bring on our first lady?
Yes. Let's bring on our first guest.
Okay, our first guest is none other than Joan Bailey. Joan, are you there?
I'm here.
Hello, Joan.
Thank you. Thank you for having on the platform. I must say something, Nick, moisturize. Back in my day, we said cream up. Cream up. We don't moisturize.
I was trying to be all speaky spokey.
I can see that.
You know what I'm saying.
So Joan, again, go ahead.
Sorry, thanks for joining us, Joan. That's all I'll say. Go on, Lolly.
So Joan, a woman of many, many talents.
Yes.
You are. So Joan is a creator of Queen's Walking Group over there in Southeast London, which started up during our times of restriction. So we're in lockdown, should we say. And then it's moved to now Zoom, where she has quite a few different things going on. Joan, tell us a bit about what you're up to.
Oh, goodness. Where does one start? Well, you said in the introduction, I created the walking group back in last March. And that came out of the mere fact that, we were locked down. We couldn't do anything. And it was really about how I kept my own level of fitness up. Yeah. So I used to walk. I'd be doing the crazy shopping, going to work and still trying to fit in some kind of activity. And I used to walk at night, and my kids were saying, "Oh, Mum, it's a bit late for you to be out there walking." So I woke up early one morning, went walking, and it worked for me. And as I was out walking, I'd see the odd lady walking. You see her 1 week, you don't see her. And that's the case of, she's bored, she's fed up, she's in lockdown. You've got the other scenario, 2 or 3 people out, you see them 1 week, you don't see them. And it's a typical scenario again. It's a case of there's always a leader. And if the leader says, "I'm not going today," everything flop. Yeah, nobody goes. And I'm quite spiritual as well. And I kept hearing in myself, something kept saying to me, start a walking group. And I thought, start a walking group. So I just carried on. One of my friends from primary school contacted me. She had blood pressure and said, "Joan, I need to try and get active, get fit." I said, "All I'm doing is walking, but you can come." And then I think one of the really profound factors, we were sort of like around, May time, June time, and just talking to friends, and I'm having a ball working from home. It's the best thing since ever. I'm telling you, I'm in my house. I can do a bit of cleaning, do a bit of work, do a bit of washing, put my dinner. I can just juggle, and it's just so manageable. But talking to friends, and I didn't really understand. I think I understand a bit better now, but at the time I didn't really understand. So talking to one of them, and she's a powerful queen. She's a health visitor, she's in the church. She just does loads of stuff. And she said to me one day, something, Joan, one day I was at home and I could feel the walls were coming in on me. And I thought, the walls? What's going on here? Spoke to another friend of mine, doesn't live that far from me. She said to me, "Joan, I'm at home and I'm just feeling so down. I had to go for a walk in the park the other day." And I thought, what's wrong with these chicks? I'm at home, working from home, having a ball. So I said, right, this is just foolishness. So I started the group, cut a long story short, and the group has really expanded. I said I'd do it for, 6 weeks. And after the 6 weeks, they wanted to continue. So we continued up until around the end of October, when Boris really just put the screws on. Where, it was only one person could meet with another person to exercise, etc. So what I decided to do was I had to learn how to Zoom pretty quick. The first Zoom was just a disaster. I lost all the people off the screen, and there's a bit where you see me pulling down the laptop cover, and I'm pressing, thinking, God, where's all the people gone? What's going on? It was crazy. But you know what? I wasn't defeated. I continued. So I have a Queen Zoom on Saturday morning, 8 o'clock. We have it at 8 o'clock because that is when we would normally be walking as a group. So we Zoom and Zoom and Zoom. And then what's happened with that now, I have connected up with so many queens up and down the country. So I've got about 20 walking groups now up and down the country. Can I just quickly pick them up?
Go ahead.
Let me pick up the East London Queens, the Birmingham Queens, the Croydon Queens, Manchester Queens, Luton, Harrow and Stanmore, Greenwich, Milton Keynes, Gants, Hill, Enfield, Hatfield and Welwyn Garden City, Tottenham, Brixton, Streatham, Wembley and Basingstoke. Yeah, and that's all come through the Zoom that we started back in November now, up until now. So the whole walking thing has been phenomenal. But on the platform, I've done lots of different subjects. So the first thing I did was Queen's Black Hair Rocks, because I picked subjects that really resonate with us.
Yeah.
So everybody now, no more trotting to the little shop to buy whatever product. No more weave and all the rest of it. You've got to be doing home hair jobs. And I wanted to have a discussion, and try and help the women who are out there struggling with their hair. Get tips, get advice. So we did that. And that's something I'm going to be taking to Africa Fashion Week, because that's one of the things I'm going to be doing. So in August, I'm going to be hosting a seminar on the Friday and one on the Saturday, August the 13th and 14th of August. I'll be doing that. And I'm also seeking vendors if anybody wants to come and vend, but they must be in the hair, beauty and fashion industry.
So Joan, that is quite a mouthful.
Wow.
We did. I did a quick breath.
Well done to you, and hats off. You've got another event coming up, haven't you? Tell us a bit about that.
Yes. Well, as part of the Zoom, part of what we did before lockdown, we did a lot of work with businesses, startups, SMEs, and obviously being in lockdown, they couldn't vend. So when the government opened up back in December, and then we have the markets 5th of December, I said, we're not doing that because there's something out there killing people. We're in a pandemic, and I didn't want to be mixing up with anybody. So we actually did it on the platform. So every month we did something on the platform with vendors. So now that we're coming out of lockdown, we've got our first event, physical event, which is going to be, it's the Queen's and Rudy J Summer Cultural Market. We've got 17 phenomenal vendors at the event. It's going to be in Beckenham Mansion, Beckenham Place Park, Beckenham, BR3 1SY. Starts at 10 o'clock, and you will have an array of artifacts, clothing, things for hair, all kinds of products. And if anybody wants to book, they can book free on Eventbrite via Queen's and Rudy J Media, or to just look for Queen's Walking Group, you can book a free ticket on Eventbrite.
So it's a free event, or
it's a free event. Mm-hmm. It's a free event because we, we've got to think now with our businesses, they haven't been able to trade for the last 18 months, almost 2 years technically. Yeah. So we need to, get behind them. We want to hear some ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching on Saturdays. We really want, because they're struggling, and for a lot of them as well, it's their side hustle. They've got a day job and they're looking to make that transition to be, a business in its entirety. Like I say to a lot of them, I want to see them in Harrods. I want to see them in Superdrug. I want to see them in, Tesco, everywhere. But they've got to start. So they need to be out there. If we don't know about them, we can't support them.
That's right. So definitely, ladies and gents, do go and support. The link shall come shortly over the screen as well. Joan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
More power to you, original queen. With all those ladies that you have uplifting. We have to say round of applause to you for that.
Thank you. Well, those that can should. And we're all doing things, and I commend you guys as well for what you're doing.
Thank you very much. Joan, just keep doing nice things. By the way.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Thanks, Joan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there you have it, people. That's Joan Bailey there, CEO of. We didn't even get to speak to her about her events business. She's got a health events business and also an events business. Her events business is called We Like to Do Nice Things. Mm-hmm. That's the pun I tried to get in there. And also We Love Health and Wellbeing. Mm-hmm. So she's doing loads of things. So check her out on all social media platforms. And if you can get yourself down to Beckenham this Saturday, the 3rd of July, please do so. There it is on the bottom of the screen there.
Yeah, Joan's got a lot of support there in the chat room. That's what we like to see.
Could you imagine that, Lolly? That the walking group as well is spread out all over England.
That's nationwide. It's fantastic.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Really, really good. And coming from somebody obviously contacting everyone through technology, and she said she wasn't that good at it. So more power to her.
There you go. One teaches one, eh? So we've got. I want to say good afternoon going out to everyone who's in the chat room. Let me just see if I can see. Good afternoon, Sandra, Alexis, Kaz, Janine Ellis, Sonia King. Greetings. Shouts out to Andrea Myers as well, Rudy J, All Saint Nash, Big at yourself, and also VW. That's a nice name, VW. Okay, so thank you very much. Please do get your questions in the chat room if you want to ask any questions. We're gonna bring in our guest host shortly, and she's gonna introduce you to her guests. And we so get your questions in. Just type it in the chat room. Type it type it into the chat room or on the YouTube, and hopefully we will get them to the guests as well this evening.
And while you're there, don't forget subscribe, follow, and notification so you don't miss any programs. All right, make sure you do that. Yes, indeed. I think it's time, Nick. Yes. So this lady that we're going to bring in now, she's been a previous guest on our show, Lolly. I think it was episode 3. That she was, Cheryl Jumbo. And she is going to tell us about the other guests that are coming in today. So I'm looking forward to speaking to Cheryl. Let's bring her in.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, good evening, guys.
Good evening. Looking lovely this evening.
Thank you very much. And on the top
The backdrop.
Thank you very much.
Very
Yeah.
So glowing. I love it.
How you been?
I'm great. You know, we're slowly emerging out of lockdown, and some business activities are starting to get back to normal. So I'm looking forward to July, I think the 19th, so that we can, go all out and express ourselves fully.
Let's do
Really
this.
looking forward to that, eh? So tell us a little bit about, first of all, Cheryl, just give the audience who don't know you from the last series a little bit about who you are, what you do, please.
Okay, so I'm a cosmetic scientist. For those of you who are unaware of what a cosmetic scientist does, ultimately I work in a laboratory as a scientist, formulating your most precious pots of promise, from shampoos to skincare products, body scrubs, foot cream, toothpaste, you name it. Anything that makes you look or smell better is what I've been trained to do. And I've been doing that for quite some time. And it actually propelled me to create an awards for manufacturers of products that are suitable for Black women and people and men as well, of course, and people of mixed heritage. You know, for a very long time, I heard that Pantene was the #1 shampoo. And after all of my economic contribution to the UK economy, I thought, well, I don't use Pantene. What is out there for me? What are the best products for me? And as Joan mentioned earlier, it's important that we support Black businesses. The beauty industry, unfortunately, is dominated by other ethnic groups. And it's about time that we started to profit from our
But don't you think, Cheryl, that's starting to change now? Don't you think that's starting to change now? Because I mean, I don't know if it's since we've been actually discussing it more and we've been talking about it, but now that, you're looking around, you see there's a lot more people of color doing things for people of color.
Absolutely, and it's not a new thing. We have inventors, creators for the longest time, but the struggle has really been about being visible ultimately.
Yeah.
So let's say you create an amazing product. Where would you stock it? The average person wants their product to be on the shop, on a shelf in the high street, so people can test the product, have that experience before they buy it. But with the power of the internet and social media, people are, becoming more powerful and creating a presence for themselves in the high street, or I guess in the e-commerce space. But there's still much work to do. We need, I think, a greater presence on the high street. The likes of Superdrug have supported our event in the past and see it as a much needed addition to the beauty industry. The issue is about market share and about seeing more of us as part of the supply chain. It's a long supply chain. You have raw materials, creating the ingredients that will be used in cosmetic products. Then you also have the research and development of the product. Then you have the marketing, the branding, the packaging, the testing, and then you have the distribution of it. So there's enough space and there's enough talent in our community for us to position ourselves in areas of power right across the supply chain of Black beauty and fashion. So yes, I'm committed to seeing a greater presence. The Afro hair beauty industry in the UK totals 7.5 billion, and we can see a lot more Bentleys in our community, I think.
So Cheryl, you've brought some guests with you this evening, and so you'll be discussing, going into more depth of things that you've just mentioned.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. And I've just got one quick question before I hand over and let you bring in your guest. You mentioned earlier that there's quite a lot of people getting involved in, making their own products and creating brands that are, more for our type of skin and our type of hair. Is there something in particular that you find there's a lot of? So is there like a lot of moisturizers, a lot of hair oils, or is there something that people sort of like go to and when they're starting out?
I guess it depends on your interest. I think that, you know, the reality is most people that enter into the industry are not cosmetic scientists, and maybe they have a passion for a particular product or style of product. And then there's also the ease. So I'm seeing a lot of beard oils on the marketplace because you can mix oils quite easily, have it process and push it out. But I think that more work needs to be done in the community to create more sophisticated formulations and creating more choice. You know, we can't all buy beard oil or shea butter moisturizers. You know, let's create some diversity. But there is. It's just about creating a bit more visibility. Yes. But if you would ask me, just very quickly, what would be my ultimate skincare advice, let's say, for both men and women, I would say that everybody must exfoliate. I know that Nick just mentioned it very briefly once, and he said, does not exfoliate. But let me tell you, exfoliation is skin rescue. And if I could tell you to do one thing to your skin, it would be exfoliation. And the reason, so we oxidize. If you cut an avocado, it's bright green. After a while, it starts to get dark. The same with an apple. So when you, I guess, scrape off that top layer that's exposed to the air, you get to see that beautiful green color again. Or if it's an apple, you get to see that glowing sheen. You know, it looks gorgeous when you cut a fresh apple. So that is essentially what exfoliating is doing. You are taking off the top layer of dead skin that's constantly exposed to the environment and starts to become dull and dark. And you can exfoliate in a number of ways. I have a device here, which is a cleansing brush. And so basically you just turn this on and you use it to exfoliate your skin. It's timed, so it asks you to do that for 2 minutes. You can have a body scrub, you know, they're going to keep the skin glowing, and scrubs are the answer. It allows your moisturizers to penetrate deeper into your skin because you remove that sort of hardened, exposed layer. And yes, products can penetrate a lot deeper. So skincare rescue is exfoliation, in my opinion, and we should all be doing it at least a few times.
I'll have to hit you up for one of those exfoliators there.
Me too. Me too.
I'm going to try it out. I'm going to give it a road test and stuff, and then I'll come back and report to all the men out there to go and get themselves one.
Fantastic. We do appreciate men that take a little bit of extra time to look after themselves. It does make a difference.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So shall we hand over to you, Cheryl, and then you can bring your esteemed guests.
Thank you very much. So yes, as the lovely DJ Tricky Nick and DJ Lolly has said, we have some exciting guests who will be joining us this evening. All of them are what I would call veterans and experts in the skincare aspect of the beauty industry. That's not to limit them, but tonight we're talking about all things to do with skin. So without further ado, let me introduce our very first panelist. So this lady goes by the name of Norma Ellis. She was Birmingham's first Black beauty consultant and beauty therapist. This was at least 40 years ago. So she's trained for 40 years and she runs a skincare clinic in London. She has also run a skincare clinic in Miami, and she's been looking after male and female skin for a very long time. She's been a pioneer in the beauty industry. She's worked on what we know as the Afro Hair and Beauty Show. It's been going on for at least 35 years now. And she's also a trained beauty assessor. And she has a book coming out too. So she's now also an author. So she will tell you a bit more about that once she comes up on screen. So please do welcome Norma Ellis.
Hi, good evening, Cheryl. Thank you.
Very welcome.
You look lovely.
Thank you. You look fabulous. Look at that skin.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. As you can see here, I'm actually sitting in the skincare area that I actually work in. I thought that was an appropriate place for me to be tonight.
Well, I think that is fantastic. Maybe one day you can show us a demonstration of some skin.
I would love to. Yes, love to.
Fantastic. So Norma, you know, we're talking about myths tonight and skincare beliefs, there is an abundance of information. And of course, with the power of the internet now, you can Google anything. And, people are publishing a lot of nonsense, to be quite frank. So we'd like to debunk some of these myths tonight. So I'm posing a couple of questions to you. But before we do that, we're going to introduce our next panelist, okay? So we have up next, Zephina Charlery, excuse me. So Zeph, we like to call her Zeph, her name is Zephina. She's the owner of Sitting Pretty Academy. So Zephina is a qualified beauty assessor, an internal verifier, and a teacher. She set up her beauty business over 15 years ago. And, beauty has always been a part of Zeph's life. She's started out as a shampoo girl on a Saturday for her mother, who owned a salon and still does work within the beauty industry. So Sitting Pretty Academy runs VCT and City and Guilds beauty qualifications at level 2. And all semi-permanent tattoo, nail art, laser epilation, electrical epilation, hairdressing, and barbering. So Zephina is passionate about beauty education and raising the standards. It's important that anyone who is looking at working within the beauty industry should get qualified in their chosen field. So let's welcome Zephina, please.
Hey Cheryl, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. All the better for seeing you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. You're looking absolutely lovely today. And you, Norma.
Thank you.
You're representing us.
Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. So I will have some questions for you, more debunking the myth. So we're going to invite our final panelists for this evening. Our next guest goes by the name of Aisha Gardiner. Now, Aisha has a number of memberships with the BABTAC, Beauty Guilds, PBA, Professional Beauty. So originally qualified in 1996 as a level 3 beauty therapist and aromatherapist, she went on to complete her HNC in business management. She opened S-Bar London, which has 2 locations, 7 years ago, and currently employs 9 members of staff. She has mentored over 30 young women within the beauty industry with her employability program. The very fabric of her business is customer focus. The spa currently has a wide customer base of 7,000 clients in London. So alongside her business, as an added service, she also created the Skin and Health Seminar, educating her clients due to the abundance of misinformation that's available. So please welcome Aisha Gardiner to the show.
Good evening, ladies.
Good evening, Aisha. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So, ladies, all of you are experts in your respective fields, and we are lucky to be hearing from you all tonight. So I want to pose a few myths out that are currently trending and messing with people's heads, quite frankly, because they don't know what to do. They're confused. So one of the first things I want to ask you, Zeph, is, well, not if, let's say, is this a true fact? Makeup is bad for your skin. What would you say about that?
I've always worn makeup. I like makeup. I enjoy wearing makeup. And makeup becomes bad for your skin for those that actually don't remove the makeup once they've applied it. So people that go to bed with the makeup on, makeup dries the skin. So you wake up, the skin is dehydrated. You need to remove your makeup. Makeup is not actually bad for your skin. You need to also ensure that your makeup is not out of date, that is stored in a cool place. And you're not going to have any issues. Also, you mentioned about exfoliating the skin, Cherry. So there's certain things that you should be doing whilst you're applying makeup. So having regular facials, drinking loads of water, exfoliating regularly, moisturizing. A lot of people would apply makeup without moisturizing because they don't think they need to. That's a myth. You do need to. The skin needs that as a barrier protector for makeup. I've never had any issues with makeup. So I think if you kind of do those set regimes, and you do them religiously, not going to bed with makeup on. I think a few of us over the years have probably done that, a late night out and stuff like that. But you know, and facials. So I live by facials. A lot of people see facials as oh, I'll have a treat.
Okay.
Facials are not treats. Some facials are something that should be mandatory, so that when you apply your makeup, the makeup can sit flush. So no, that's an absolute myth. Makeup is just as good as the owner who's caring for their skin.
I like that. So there it is, guys. Makeup is not bad for your skin. It's all about how you treat your skin. So the next myth I'd like to put out there, and I'm going to address this to Aisha. So men don't have as many skin care problems as women do. Is this true?
So we treat men and women, young and old. It has changed a lot over the years. Look, your skin is your largest organ in your body. So it's no different, you know, whether or not you're male or female. Yes, men's skin tend to be slightly different. But then it also depends on obviously whether they've got a beard, that's you know, whether they've got a beard, and also with men, they're a little bit shall we say, just getting into the swing of using skincare at the moment. So I think for them, they're being told lots of different things, especially because they go to the barbers and they've got all sorts of things going on at the barbers. So they're being told a lot of different things. So I do feel sorry for men because they do come in as complete novices and they don't know what the hell is going on, but they're amazing clients because once they get their foot through the door and they have the treatment done and they learn what to do, they do exactly what they're told, and their skin comes back beautifully because of that, you know. So no, there isn't any difference to a certain degree. You still have to cleanse, you still have to exfoliate, you still have to look after your skin, but yes, that is complete myth.
Thank you, Aisha. And so Aisha should know because she's been treating at least 7,000 London-based clients. So I'm glad that you touched upon a point. I'll just like to touch upon that very quickly. So skin is skin, but actually it's also different, you know. So let me just quickly give you a little bit of insight. So African skin compared to Caucasian skin, it has a different structure. Okay, so we have a thicker dermis, which means that we have more collagen and elastin, and those are what gives the skin its stretch and its ability to bounce back, essentially. In terms of the layers of the skin, African skin actually has more layers. So there's an outer layer called the epidermis, and you have the dermis underneath that, and then you have the subcutaneous layer underneath that. So that very top layer, Caucasian skin has on average 5 layers. We have 7 around that number. Also, our skin cells are more densely packed together, and we have a higher oil content, which helps us, I guess, keep those skin cells firmly together too. So we don't shed skin as easily as our Caucasian counterpart, which means that we would exfoliate the skin more and cleanse it more deeply, more often. Now, the difference between men's skin and female skin is men have even thicker skin. So that's why they tend to have more younger looking skin for a little bit longer as well. You know, the distinguished gentlemen, they do tend to age a little bit better. So there is a difference in structure, and it's important that we understand so that we can treat our skin in the right way. So I'd like to pose a myth to you, Norma. So eating chocolate causes acne?
Definitely not. Some people can react to chocolate if they overeat chocolate. Everything can create issues on your skin if you overdo it. But really, what is happening to your skin when you're breaking out, it's an internal issue. It just means that your lymphatic system that actually takes away the waste is clogged up, and it's not removing the waste as it should do. And so we have to also remember that the skin is an emergency exit for every single organ of your body comes through the skin. When I talk to my clients and for the general public, your skin is just a big dustbin. That's what it is. And you have your dustbin in your house, and you go out to the main dustbin and you put the rubbish out there. So skin issues of acne happens internally. And although we're all made up from the same structure inside as far as the lymphatic system and the blood system is concerned, our veins and our all the other transport system that takes around the waste and the blood, one section feeds oxygen and fresh blood, the other system of the blood takes away the waste, and some of that can get clogged up. Sometimes we don't defecate enough, we don't urinate enough. The skin has to take all of those emergency that you don't get rid of through defecation or urination. And so everything must come through the skin. It's your emergency exit, and it's constantly working for you. You could eat something right now, and maybe something that you've maybe a piece of meat. The cow probably had something that was good for it, but it's not good for you. And straight away, it's going to come through your skin. And that's how important our skin is. So it is not an external factor. It's an internal factor, and we need to recognize that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Norma. So eat as much chocolate as you like, moderation, because it can affect
Absolutely.
Can affect your waist.
It's a happy feeling. Of course, some people may have allergies to chocolate and nuts and stuff like that. But if you don't have an allergy, then it's not a bad thing.
Okay, thank you so much, Norma. So my next myth I'm going to direct to Zeph. So, I've heard some people say that they're shaving their entire faces in the pursuit of smoother skin. It's called dermaplaning, right? So is this a good thing? Should women be shaving their entire faces?
No, I actually don't know where that came from. I don't know if it started off in the Turkish barbers where they do wet shaves. And I went on training for the dermaplane because I had a lot of clients that were asking me about it, and it doesn't make any sense to me. You're just removing bum fluff basically off your hair, which will come back. So a lot of people would, a lady that I know was using it for facials in terms of doing glycolic acid pills, because she was combining it with dermaplaning. But I'm definitely not in agreement with dermaplaning. I think if you kind of want smoother skin, then I would probably opt for doing things like microdermabrasion, where you're taking off the top layer of the epidermis very lightly and over duration of time, which makes the skin a lot more brighter. So again, when you're applying your serums or moisturizer or something like that, you're penetrating right into the skin, and the skin prefers that. Dermaplaning for me, I think, was a bit of a fad. No one I know as a therapist does it or has done it, and I wouldn't suggest it's something that a client would go and do for that reason.
Yes, I've seen some horror stories actually. A few ladies have tried it. Following the hype on YouTube. This is the dangers of these self-certified consultants that are popping up on social media. It's quite frightening that they have the authority to just give people this terrible information. So
dermaplaning is not regulated by an awarded body. So when you find that people are doing treatments that's not regulated by anyone, then they just go off and we'll try this and then hope that it works. But you're trying something that's not regulated on clients, So based upon that, I don't do anything that's not regulated by an awarded body, so VPCT, City and Guilds, because it needs to be orchestrated, and it needs to be managed by qualified, like Norma and I, assessors and IQAs, and you've got to go through the processes properly. So I wouldn't allow anyone to do anything on my skin that has not gone through a proper awarded body organisation.
Fantastic. Thank you, Zeph. So that also brings another issue to mind. You know, the marketing of cosmetic products and skincare and hair care. You know, marketing plays a very strong role in how men and women shop for their products. And sometimes it's not so much about how effective the product is, it's about how good it looks on the shelf. You know, consumers buy with their eyes a lot. So one of the things that I've heard is that expensive skincare products are better than inexpensive products. Do any of you have thoughts about that? Is that true or is that not true?
No, not necessarily. I mean, one of the things I tend to do is I go into a lot of shops and I look at all the ingredients at the back of the products, and I feel like I kind of have to do that because there's so much on the shelf that clients come in with an array of things in their bathroom, half of which they don't know what they are. A lot of the time, they're the causes of the actual problem. So I kind of like to go around and see what the ingredients are. Sometimes I'll get them to take pictures of them and send me what they are so I can look at the ingredients, because they really don't check at all, and a lot of the time you can even get a professional only brand product, but if it's not used correctly it can also create more problems. So it's just, I would always advise clients to at the very least speak to a professional and get your consultation done by a professional, not just somebody who's standing at the counter working on commission, because they're just going to kind of sell you whatever they can because they've got targets to reach. So for me, no, I think that's a complete myth, 100%. And what's not good, also what's good for you is not always good for someone else as well, and that's another thing.
Yeah.
That happens often, where a sister might be using something that's working for her, and then they recommend it to their friend or their sister or their mum, and that, yes, while genetics have got something to do with it, their skin is slightly different, and therefore so it's got nothing to do with how expensive the product.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you. And that's one thing that frustrates me as a cosmetic scientist. Just like your food shopping, you should be shopping for your cosmetics or skincare by ingredient. So, you know, as a customer, take a little bit of time, get to know ingredients. You know, Google, you know, allows you to search ingredients. If you were to go and buy, you know, a food item now, we're becoming a lot more aware of, you know, of vegan food, foods that are being processed. So take the same approach when it comes to buying your skincare. Shop by ingredients and do your research. So I'm going to throw one more question out there because I know that we have some questions to take from our lovely viewers this evening. So, or if we have time, we'll just squeeze in two more, but I'll wait for my host to give me that cue. So natural versus synthetic. Natural products are always better than synthetic products. Norma, what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, natural products always works best, especially when you're looking at exfoliating the skin as well. You talked a lot about exfoliating, and if products are natural and they come with their own enzymes, that's their own acidity in them, then they're just going to be great for your skin in every way. I mean, natural products like vitamin C increases your collagen activities, and it also helps to exfoliate the skin quickly too. And also products which are cleansers that have their own natural ingredients of detergent, also will have their own built-in enzyme in that when you're cleansing, you're exfoliating at the same time as you're cleansing, which is great. Natural products like moisturizers. Your natural moisturizer in your body is just consisting of oil and water. And when you build your own moisturizer of a protein-based oil and mimic your skin, because that's what we're doing with skincare. We know that it grows and it dies every day. Black skin loses 5 skin cells per day. It takes 28 days to go through a cycle. Multiply that by 5 by 28. That's how much skin we're building up. The dirt sits underneath the skin and the dead cell is on top. So you've got to remove those dead cells before you can get to the dirt. So exfoliating, putting your cleanser on a brush, exfoliating the skin, and also replacing it with a good moisturizer, which our skin produces protein oils. And so we need to build into the skin protein oils. We lose moisture when we wash our skin. Do not remove the water from your skin. Mimic your skin by applying water and oil onto the skin. And that's how we get natural moisture. Anything else that you give the skin is extra.
Thank you, Norma. Yes, that is very interesting because people seem to think that oil moisturizes the skin. So ultimately, true hydration comes from water. So if you're adding an oil to your skin and your skin is not moist and it's dehydrated, you're not going to be actually moisturizing and making that skin's texture better or improved in its texture or its look. So the skin needs water. And the best way to do that is to apply an oil to a damp face. So you're actually sealing in some moisture into the skin. So in terms of natural being better than synthetic in all cases, I have a slightly differing perspective. I do think that naturals are fantastic, but I think that sometimes if you're looking for a more speedy outcome, possibly, you could try something that would speed up the process of sort of the natural product. Sometimes the natural thing can take a little bit of time to work, and sometimes we're looking for a quick fix. So the main thing for me as a cosmetic scientist is about safe beauty. Not all natural things are good for you. We have tsunamis, we have tornadoes. So it's about finding also what works for you. But ultimately, safe ingredients is where it is at, whether they're synthetic or natural. So last question of the night to you. All of you ladies have great looking skin. And so I would like you to share with us briefly, because we are a little bit against the clock, briefly, what is the secret to your skin success?
Mine is I have regular facial with Norma, and I try to drink at least 4 liters of water a day. As I'm getting older, I'm finding the skin is not doing what it used to do. So I'm having to pay a bit more attention. I don't wear as much makeup as I used to. And I try to moisturize a lot more than I used to. But I think definitely having regular facials, I exfoliate at least once a week. And I use when I'm doing my cleansers, I use my brushes that you have there, Cherry. Mm-hmm. And I use that every morning and night when I'm exfoliating and I'm having my shower. And that just helps to lift the skin and it keeps it nice and bright. And I like to use a serum, a vitamin C serum, because that helps to brighten the skin. And I like to use that. And I also use that with water. So again, the same mimicking situation, and I use that with water. So that's something that I like to do.
Amazing. Thank you, Zeph. And next, Aisha, tell me, what are the secrets to your skin success?
I exfoliate and exfoliate and exfoliate, but I don't overdo the exfoliation. But no, I and consistency. I don't think I've been doing my skin since I was 17. I'm 43 now, and I don't actually, I don't recall a time where I haven't done facials or I haven't cleansed my skin or I haven't exfoliated. I try to keep my routine quite simple as well. And so exfoliation and also moisturizing, but also being mindful of when your skin is changing. I think that is also a big, that's made a big difference for me, because what I was doing in my 20s or my 30s, I certainly am not doing in my 40s. And yes, our skin does age, but it ages slightly differently. So obviously, if you've got hormones or hormonal issues or underlying issues that often happen to women over a certain age, that can affect your skin as well. So for me, it's about consistency and also changing your routine and being mindful of when you need to change, whether it be seasonally or there's other issues going on or whatever. So that's me.
Thank you so much, Aisha. So Norma, we have a very short window here for you, unfortunately. But
well, I think they've said it all. The main thing is to exfoliate. I exfoliate twice a day with a cleanser and a brush that does the job. Vitamin C cream and plenty of protein, oils, and water.
Thank you so much, ladies. You've been absolutely fantastic, and I know with certainty that everybody watching tonight has found out something useful and very helpful that's going to aid in them having amazing looking skin. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So
Thank you for having us.
Back to our host, DJ Tricky Nick. I can never get that. My tongue gets twisted. And the amazing DJ Lolly.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. That was fantastic. And Aisha, Zafina, and Norma, very, very informative.
Just say Nick, Cheryl. It's easier.
Thank you.
That's okay.
But
Thank you, ladies.
I can squeeze in one quick question. We always talk about skin and the face and the nose and the T-zone. How would you, a quick care regime for the lips? I wear a lot of matte lipstick, and I find sometimes it can be drying. What would you say was a quick routine, very quickly?
I use a toothbrush, and I exfoliate with the toothbrush, and then I moisturize. Carmax, the lip moisturizer, is really good because it's got menthol balm. So after I exfoliate with it, I use the menthol balm, and I just have that to hand religiously. I use it all the time because matte, especially Ruby Woo, that really takes up all my moisture out of my lip. So by doing that, that helps it to keep it nice and supple.
Thank you very much, Safina.
You're welcome.
Cheryl, I was glad to hear you say that men have thicker skin than women.
Yes.
I think that we need to, don't we? We need to have thicker skin than women. That's a good
you might be onto something there, Nick.
I think so. But I was actually interested when Zafina was talking about dermaplaning. And when she said about, it can damage your skin and that. Don't they have creams? Don't creams like bleaching creams do the same sort of thing as dermaplane, removing the top layer of skin? Isn't that what
I'm against bleach. I know people that bleach. I'm not really down for bleaching, and it does really damage the skin cells over duration of time. So they're completely two different treatments. One, you're literally breaking down the skin cells for the bleaching, and the other you're just working topically surgically. With bleaching, it goes down into the epidermis. You can't control that. You can't stop that process once it goes down into the skin. And you'll find that when people stop bleaching, they look like Dracula's bride of a nighttime. It doesn't look good.
I'd like to add something. Yes, so we have melanocytes essentially. So skin and bleaching has, like Zeph said, it attacks the skin in two ways. So it can either attack the melanocyte that produces the melanin and inhibits that production, okay? Or it can work from the topical, work its way down, so it starts to bleach and lighten the layer of skin on top that way. So, yes. And now you can get injections to, unfortunately, inhibit melanin or promote melanin and get darker. There was a crazy lady on Good Morning TV one morning.
Oh, I remember seeing her.
I've seen her.
Also, do black people have naturally more oily skin than white people? Is that a thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
And that's
true,
one
right?
thing that helps to keep
Yeah.
our skin looking younger for longer, as well as having that more elastin and collagen, having more layers as well.
Yeah.
It's multifactorial, our God-given beauty.
And are we sorry? I'm asking so many questions, but are we also prone to the same sort of skin damage as white people with regards to sun?
Well, this has been an interesting topic with the invention of Black Girl sunscreen. And, like I said, there's a lot of marketing. If you were to take a survey in the African continent or go to Jamaica and do a survey, how many people are actually dealing with sunburn? How many people, percentage-wise are dealing with skin cancer as an issue? So when you start to really delve in and do some real research, it's not a major issue for us. One of the things that we lack in the Western Hemisphere, especially here in the UK, is sun. That helps to create vitamin D. So wearing a sunblock actually in some ways is going to limit even more vitamin D production in the skin. But yeah, if you find that your skin is sensitive, I did have a friend in high school and her nose would burn. She's from the Caribbean. So if you find that you do find that your skin is sensitive, definitely take the necessary remedy. But don't just jump on the bandwagon for the sake of, oh, I need to fit in. They said this, they said that. Our skincare, our beauty is truly unique to us, and understanding your skin is where it starts. So get to know yourself.
Can I interject as well, Cheryl? Because what I found as well is that people from mixed parentage that are coming in as well, their skin is actually quite different as well. In terms of, I don't know if it depends on how much DNA or melanin they have, but I'm seeing people who have my complexion that are burning quite easily as well. But that's because they have mixed parentage. So that's another thing that we need to also look at as well. And I think that more research needs to be done in it as well. So I just agree with you.
Thank you so much, ladies. It's been definitely an eye opener and very, very educational. And I see lots of people in the chat room really taking on board what these ladies are saying and agreeing. And basically, there's a lot of information. You can see that they're learning something here. So that's always a good thing, is to share the knowledge.
Yes, that's so important. All of these ladies, if you think about it, they're all educators, and being a cosmetic science is all about performance, ingredients, formulation. So I'm shocked that we've been able to educate and hopefully entertain a little bit our viewers.
And on that note, I think we're going to have to start rounding up now.
Oh, so soon?
Indeed. We've got so many questions as well in the chat room that we didn't even get to. I think if we had another half an hour, we could probably fill that quite easily.
Maybe the ladies, if you have a moment just after the show, you can respond to the ladies in the chat room. That may be an idea if you've got a few minutes. Never know.
Yeah.
With some direct responses.
Sure.
Indeed.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
It's been a pleasure, and it's been very educational. Thank you, ladies, for sharing.
To our viewers, thank you for watching and joining us and participating in the chat room. As per usual, you guys have been fantastic. Do remember you can watch a repeat over the weekend on Sky Channel 182, at Ben TV and Channel 7. All right, and make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube channel and have a look for some of our past videos, if just to catch up if you haven't seen any before, or even if you just want a bit of a recap. Nick?
Indeed. Sorry, I was just listening to what you said. Yeah. But also, do remember to visit the YouTube channel and subscribe as well, because and spread the word as well, because this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring education about hair, skin, beauty, all these things that are important to us as people of color, and spreading the word. So please do share it and subscribe as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good night, people.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.